Hello and welcome. After 5 years of eagerly waiting, Travis Scott has finally come out with Utopia. And it is awesome, and I can't wait to review it. I'm very excited for this. I'm still a little iffy on my scoring, so when that part comes, I will talk more about that. But still, I had to get this review out while it is, of course, fresh on the mind. And yeah, Travis meant business on this album. Right away, with the opening track, Hyena, he samples the song Proclamation from the band Gentle Giant, I believe from the 80s, late 80s. But with the opening sample coming from that song, it is told from the perspective of a king, and you know that this is basically him kind of saying, welcome to this experience, and he's about to lead you through this entire journey that is Utopia. And I just love the way that he opens this up, and the song sounds awesome anyways, but just having this as the opener really does well for setting the mood and getting you into what the experience is about to be like. There are 19 songs here total for runtime of an hour and 13 minutes. And usually I'm not a fan of the super long track list. Like when it gets close to 20 songs, it can feel really drawn out and it can get really boring. Or you have albums that do this and they're just filled with these filler songs that do nothing to help. For example, Pink Tape by Uzi. I think a lot of people can agree that song was filled with some filler, but just some songs that were just not good and could have been cut. And you see this a lot with songs that reach this near 20 song mark. And when I saw that, I was very afraid. But Travis did really good with this, and I feel like he made sure that all 19 tracks served a purpose. And for the most part, I don't really think that there's any filler on this album. Of course, I will talk about some moments I don't like later on, but I think that with the sequencing of the album, it's not the best. Like, it doesn't flow as well as Astroworld, but it does flow really well, and you do get a nice dynamic throughout the project where you have these super hyped up, fast-paced songs, and then it'll slow down and get some more introspective cuts, and then it'll pick back up, and it just has really nice pacing, and he did really well with the 19 track run that he has here. I do have a lot of highlights on this that I personally like the ones I think are really good or perfect, and I'll list them here. They are Hyena, Modern Jam, My Eyes, Fiend, I Know, Circus Maximus, Parasail, Schizo, Lost Forever, Telekinesis, and Till Further Notice. Now, it's not that I think all the other tracks I didn't list are bad. These are just my absolute favorites, and I think the kind of essential songs in the project. Going into the project, I had only heard one song before that it had leaked. I know a lot of people were looking into leaks and stuff, but the only one I heard before was Lost Forever. And I was highly impressed by this sound, and I kept thinking to myself, if the rest of this album sounds anything like what this sounds like with the very haunting and eerie production, then this is going to be a near flawless record, and it is going to easily be Travis Scott's best project so far. And while I don't think that the entire album sounds like Lost Forever, I do think that what he did bring was just as fulfilling and just as exciting as what he put on that track. I think that as of now, my favorite song from the entire thing has to be My Eyes. With this song, we see Travis getting really introspective, and without a doubt, he's getting sort of into his Frank Ocean bag with a smooth vocal crooning that he does and a more easygoing, laid-back, psychedelic sort of beat. You really feel like you're getting into Travis's world with this and into his mind and what he is thinking about. You do get two features on here with Justin Vernon of Bon Iver fame, and with him doing distorted background vocals throughout the entire first half of the track. And you do have a short, simple, and of course a powerful second verse from the legendary Sampha. And even though his part is really short, I think I'm amongst I think a good bit of people, I would think the vast majority of people, who think that despite the shortness of his verse, it is still amazing, and I think it really does add a lot with just the little bit that he put in. After Sampha's short little verse, we do get a sort of speed up with some heavier drums coming in, and Travis really rapping. I feel like he's never really rapped before. He tackles topics such as his breakup / separation with Kylie Jenner, his feel on his lack of time and pressure that he has, and his come up in the music industry since the beginning to now, and he even touches on the Astroworld Festival incident from 2021. It is probably the most heavy song topically in the entire album, and I think putting it right at the start actually is a really good way to sort of kick it off. I mean, you have 3 tracks prior to this that are more, of course, upbeat, as most intros are, but this one really slows it down and shows that, you know, he still has a lot on his mind, and even though it seems like all is perfect in his world, and I know a lot of people think he's moved on from the incident that happened at Astroworld Fest, that he still is dealing with this, and it's still on his mind, that this isn't something that he's just moved on, regardless of what people have said about it. And yeah, I really like him putting this right at the start, especially because you know there's going to be a lot of people who don't make it through the entire project. I mean, simply most, you know, music fans, unless you're really a hardcore listener, most people are not a full album person. Not everyone goes from front to back on every album, and so having this right at the start gets a lot of people to listen to this, and I think it's well done, and I think that this track is just one of his best. It has easily gotten into my top 10 favorite songs of his right away. I mean, right from the start, I was very impressed by this, and I would love to hear more songs like this in the future. It easily reminded me of R.I.P. Screw from Astroworld, and yeah, it is so damn good. Instrumentally, I would like to have seen more songs like My Eyes, or like a Parasail that we see later on, or even Telekinesis. I would like to have seen more of this psychedelic and smoother sound, but we end up getting, honestly, more hyped up, you know, trap instrument, like, it's not that they're generic trap instrumentals, but we do get more of the trap instrumentals than we do this sort of psychedelic R&B sort of sound that I thought we were going to be getting more of. But either way, I still really like it. I just do wish that we got more of this. I understand that's not necessarily Travis's sound that he really does. He doesn't get into that introspective too heavily, but it was really well done. I would have liked to see more. Of course, we do have to talk about the features, and of course there is a lot of them. And in order of appearance, we have Casey, Tizo Touchdown, Justin Vernon, Sampha, Drake, Playboy Carti, Sheck Wes, Beyonce, Justin Vernon again, Rob 49, 21 Savage, Sway Lee, The Weeknd, Young Lean, Young Thug, James Blake, Westside Gunn, Kid Cudi, Bad Bunny, The Weeknd again, Future, SZA, James Blake again, and 21 Savage again. And honestly, I think that every single artist that I listed, that is every person who has a vocal appearance on this entire album, I think that they came and they did absolutely what was needed to, and they did a really good job on each of their songs that they were present on, and it felt like they all made sure that they were a necessary part of the album experience, and that they wouldn't be questioned whether or not they should or shouldn't be on their respective songs. I know, of course, a lot of people, you know, are kind of griping on Bad Bunny and The Weeknd on their performance, even Travis on K-pop, and a lot of people didn't really like that. I personally think it actually fits really well into the album as a whole. As it as a single, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I didn't hate it. I thought it was a decent track, but in the entire experience, I think it actually did really well, and I like it more that way. It was really interesting to see Travis work with some of these people, as he has never worked with some of them. I think some of the biggest surprises for sure would, of course, be Playboi Carti. That is like the hottest topic right now, is that he got Playboi Carti on here. Beyonce, I know the night that this released, I kept seeing people all over social media being like, freaking out like that Beyonce was on here. That I think that was super cool to see. And Tizo Touchdown. I think those are the big three people that people were surprised by seeing. Tizo Touchdown, of course, is not nearly as big of a name as Beyonce or even Playboi Carti, but his appearance people were really surprised by, and he did really damn well, and I think has one of the best features on the entire album, which is on Modern Jam. I thought actually at first that Tizo sounded a lot like David Bowie when he first comes in, like his singing that he has. And then I almost thought it was Andre 3000 when he got a bit quieter and he started rapping. He just had his voice sounded a lot like Andre, and it threw me off a lot. I actually had to look up who it was because I could not for the life of me find out who it was. But that's just because he has this super wide range of vocals that he's able to do and really pull off well, I think. And I think actually that he really made that song what it was. If that song didn't have him, it would have been completely different, and he really added to the weird and eclectic sound that Modern Jam had. It was very Yeezus sounding, but yet Travis took it and like made it his own thing. And I do want to add something that I think not a lot of people are talking about, especially when it comes to Modern Jam. And that is that the song is produced by not only Travis himself, we do see a lot of Travis production on the entire LP, but that this song was produced by Guy Manuel de Homem Cristo, who most people are not going to know what that name means or who it is, but he is most famously known for being one half of the revolutionary dance electronic music duo Daft Punk. I think that is absolutely insane that he got him on here, and it is super well done, and it explains why this song is so well produced. He has a legendary veteran of the music game just working on here, and I don't think that he's getting enough credit for what he did on this track. And it was super exciting for me to see, like right away when I was going through Genius. The night of Utopia's release, I was looking through. When I saw that, I couldn't believe it, seeing that name on there. I thought that was just super awesome. And I know they've worked before. I know that they've done a couple appearances together, but this I feel like probably being their biggest, and with it just being them two is really cool. And I also do want to say, back to like the general feature conversation, I do want to say that even though there are so many features, I do feel like you don't really feel like Travis is taking a back seat on this. You do still feel like he handpicked who he wanted on here, but I know some other people feel that on some of his other projects that his features take over and they have more shine than he does. But I feel like he works really hard on this being a sort of moment where you hear them and it's essential that they're on there, but that he is still having his hands on the reins and that he's still in control, and this is still his song, his project. I think that went over really well. I do think Travis probably has more runtime than all of the features do total, but yeah, I just think he did a really good job with that. I think that the sort of pacing for when he had them in their specific moments on each song was really well, like having, for example, James Blake do just sort of him like sampling on Lost Forever, or having Justin Vernon in sort of like having these background vocals on My Eyes, or like I said, Sampha having such a short part on My Eyes as well. I think just adds a lot with doing a little bit, and he just did really well placing all the features on this entire project. Of course, as you have to with a review, you have to talk about the stuff that you didn't like. And while I don't think there are particularly any bad songs, there are moments that I don't care for as much. Those would be K-pop, which I do think is much better in context of the album, as I said. It's just still not one of my favorites, and I think I am amongst the vast majority of saying this is probably the worst song on the project. I still don't think it's a bad song. I know some people are saying, oh, this is the worst song Travis has ever released. I'm not going that far as to say that. I think it's a good song. I see what they're doing. It's definitely, it seems to be like the sort of summer hit, but no, I think it's actually a good song. It's just not my favorite, and in the whole aesthetic that the whole album has, it does stick out a little bit. The other song that I wasn't a huge fan of was Love. This is probably one of the few times where I'd say that the Future definitely outshined the main artist on this entire project. I think Kid Cudi did a fantastic job on his third verse and ending out the song, and I don't know, it does flow really nice with K-pop, and I actually think that this like they have a nice duality with those two songs back to back, and K-pop even has a nice flow into Telekinesis with Future and SZA. I'm just not a huge fan of it. It's a bit more dancey, similar to Del Resto with Beyonce, but I don't know, something about it, it just isn't the most exciting song on here, and I think what Love tries to do, Del Resto just does better, in my opinion. As I said, not a bad song. I'll still revisit it from time to time, and if I'm listening through the whole project, it's not like I'm going to skip it, but I think it's just probably the second weakest track on the whole thing. But as I said, other than those two tracks, I really wouldn't say that there's any like bad songs or any other moments I don't really like. Just those ones, I'd have to say. I do want to talk about some other moments quick too that I haven't yet. First, I was very surprised on the beat switch on Lost Forever. As I said, it was the only leak that I had listened to before the album was released. I'd been listening to this one for months. I was so excited. I was confident that if Lost Forever made it on Utopia, it would for sure not only be my favorite song, which ironically got surpassed, but I said that it would probably be my song of the year because I would be listening to it so much finally on streaming officially, and just it was going to be probably my favorite Travis Scott song ever. I was not expecting to be the beat switch that is in the second half on West Side Gun's part, and for there to be a third verse for Travis Scott. I wasn't expecting that. I'm still unsure if I like this as much, or just how in general I feel about there being this beat switch. I mean, it's really cool because he has Alchemist on it, which seeing them two work together, I believe, for the first time is awesome, but I'm just not sure. I really liked just that first beat. It seems almost a bit more sped up on the official version, but when there was the leak, it was a bit more slowed down. It was super eerie. It almost like could have been used for like a horror movie, I feel like it was just super dark. It had this, crazy psychedelic aesthetic to it, but the beat switch really changes that, and I do think, of course, it fits really well into the aesthetic of the album. I was just super surprised by it, and I don't see a lot of people talking about that, but yeah, there's that moment. I was also super happy to see that Young Thug did make it on the album on Schizo, because for one, he wasn't on Astroworld, which I was very upset by. Still one of my biggest gripes with the album is just that there wasn't a Young Thug feature, because I think he could have fit really well on it. And two, of course, as we all know, he's been in jail for quite some time now, so no one was sure if he would make it on here, because we don't know when exactly the recording has started for this, like when the sessions really started. But yeah, it was super exciting to see him on here. I know a lot of people who were really surprised by that. I do also wish he had more runtime on Schizo. I think that he has a really good verse, but I just wish we could have seen a little bit more of him, or there would have been a moment in the later half where maybe when the song really starts to pick up, that him and Travis would be going back and forth and trading bars and stuff. I would have really liked to see that. Unfortunately, we did not. Still grateful that we got a feature from him, and it's a really well done feature, but that's something I would have liked to see as well. I was also super surprised to see not only did Travis have Future and SZA on this album, but that he had them on the same song, considering that they both have not been on a Travis Scott song since 2015 on Rodeo. But they did so damn good on Telekinesis. It is one of the best songs on here, and I think it's definitely one of the most essential songs on here. It's so good. I know a lot of people really wanted it in the leak version that was out. Reading into this, I saw that it was originally a Kanye song, supposed to be on Donda from 2021. It was called Future Sounds, but I really think, listening to the several versions that were leaked, I really think that this is the best one. I might be in the minority for that, but I just really like this. It's smooth. It is psychedelic, so I guess when I said earlier about there being not a lot of songs, here's another one. Psychedelic, it's laid back, it's smooth as hell, and I think that everyone does a really good job. The chemistry between the three of them are just, it's so good and so infectious. But yeah. Overall, I was just very surprised by how much I liked this album and how well I think it turned out. I was for sure one of the people who, when this was getting closer and closer to a release date, I was nervous that after 5 years, Travis was going to drop a bad album or it was going to flop. But I think that he went above and beyond and delivered yet again, and it might be my favorite project of his so far. But I think we'll see as time goes on. It is fresh on the mind, so it does have some time to settle in and everything, but as of now, I'm thinking of a 91%. Tell me what you think about it. I know, as I said, this is fresh, it's still new, and it hasn't even been a week since it's been out. But yeah, I'm feeling very confident about this album in general. I think it's really well done, and Travis did something really special on this, and it makes me so excited for what he could bring to his next project. Although I am perfectly fine with waiting. I think that the 5 years paid off. I'm not saying I want to wait another 5 years, but I just think that he did so damn well on this, and I think it was worth the wait. So yeah, thank you for watching the video. I know it was a bit of a longer one, but yeah, I appreciate you sticking through. Subscribe to see more. I will see you in the next video. Bye now.